How can you build muscle and lose fat at the same time? The million-dollar question that everyone is asking. This two-in-one approach is also known as a body recomposition. Now, everyone thinks if you want to build muscle, you have to do a bulk. And if you want to lose fat, you have to do a cut. But a body recomposition phase combines both. And no, it's not just a rare thing for a select number of lucky people with great genetics. As a coach, I've helped lots of guys do this, like Carl, Jordan, and Corbin, and many other clients. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So let's start by looking at the pros and cons of doing a body recomposition. Starting off with the pros, and one big benefit of doing a body recomposition is that it's not as taxing on the body compared to doing a huge weight loss cut where you're gonna feel tired, drained, and it's quite hard to sustain, or doing a heavy bulk where you're having to force feed yourself and feel drained and sluggish. And the best benefit by far is that you can build muscle and lose fat simultaneously. And this is great if you have a high body fat percentage, and also means you don't have to do multiple phases of bulking up and then cutting back down. In terms of the downsides of doing a body recomposition, as the calorie deficit on a body recomposition phase is slightly smaller, this means the progress with fat loss can take slightly longer. Another downside of the body recomposition is that it's harder to track your progress because your weight doesn't really fluctuate that much and it stays roughly the same weight, and this means you can't rely on the scales. So it can be slightly demotivating if you look in the mirror and don't really see that much progress. So that's the pros and cons out of the way. Now let's get into how exactly to do it. I'm going to break it up in 4 different parts: the nutrition, training, sleep and activity, and tracking and supplements. Starting off with the nutrition. Now, in terms of your calories, you want to eat in a slight calorie deficit. So this would be 100 to 300 calorie deficit. So if you're eating 2,000 calories to maintain your weight, you would need to eat between 1,700 to 1,900 calories to find your small deficit. And the most important factor within your nutrition is going to be eating a high protein diet. If you eat too little protein within your diet, your body will start to search for protein in other sources, like your existing muscles, and this will inevitably lead to muscle loss. A good rule of thumb is to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. So if you weighed 180 pounds, you need to eat 180 grams of protein each day. And with fat loss, having more protein is never a bad idea, because with protein, it actually satiates you and keeps you full up, meaning that your cravings will reduce and you'll be less inclined to eat more. And number 2, the training. So many people, when it comes to fat loss, think that cardio is the only way. They do endless cardio or really high rep activities when they're in the gym, and this can be detrimental to your physique, because if you're just focusing on cardio, even if your nutrition is perfect, you're not really going to be building any muscle. And this is why a lot of people who are overweight and do tons of cardio end up becoming skinny fat and having lots of loose skin and not much muscle mass. As well as that, it's so easy to out-eat your cardio, because you could eat 1 small little chocolate bar and that would completely erase the whole hour, an hour and a half you've just spent on the running machine. And a good example of this is my one-to-one coaching client, Carl. Now, before he came to me, he was overweight and he did endless cardio, and he did lose some weight, but he didn't really build up muscle during that period of time. So with Carl, when we focused on resistant training, progressive overload, and did a gradual cut, stayed a very similar weight, but his composition was way better. He looked a lot more muscular, leaner, and more defined. And arguably, one of the most important factors for your training when you're doing a body recomposition is the intensity. With your training, you want to train very close to failure, or at least 2 to 3 reps away from failure, and focus on increasing the weight as often as you can, provided the form is still good. Without proper training intensity, This will mean you won't progressively overload and you won't build muscle. Now, there's no specific body recomposition workouts. However, make sure you tick these boxes. Train each muscle group twice a week, progressively overload, and stay consistent. And number 3, sleep and activity. So, during our sleep, this is actually where our muscles repair and recover. So if you're not getting the best sleep quality or enough of it, your muscle building abilities are going to be limited. If you can, aim for around 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And if you struggle getting to sleep or getting good sleep quality, here's a little routine that you can do. Stay off your phone 30 minutes before bed and stick to a consistent wake time and sleep time by setting alarms. Also, try not to eat large meals or consume caffeine too close to your bedtime. Now, in terms of the activities in your day-to-day life, aim for around 10k steps per day. This is going to help with your metabolism and it's also going to burn a few more calories. And number 4, tracking and supplements. Now, tracking when it comes to a body recomposition phase can be a little bit tricky because you can't rely just on the scale. So instead, what you want to do is take progress photos each week so you can see the visual changes start to form. And outside of the progress photos, you also want to be tracking your data when you're in the gym. So have a look at your workout logs and see if your lifts are progressing. In terms of the supplements, I would go for creatine monohydrate. Now, with creatine, this is going to help to push for the last 2 to 3 reps when you're in the gym and with your performance. And like I was discussing before, your intensity in the gym is super important so that you do build muscle instead of just losing fat. Outside of creatine, I would go for protein powder. So that's how to do a body recomposition. Now let's take a look at who it's best for. Beginners and new lifters can massively benefit from a body recomposition due to their ability to build muscle at a quicker rate compared to someone who's been training intensely for years and years. So it's a lot easier for a beginner to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. That being said, even casual lifters can definitely benefit from a body recomposition. And with my coaching client Jordan, he was lifting pretty consistently 4 to 5 times a week. However, he wasn't training intensely. And from ramping up the training and dialing in the nutrition, he was able to build muscle and lose fat at the same time whilst remaining practically the same weight. And for the lifters who are inconsistent, they can also benefit from this too. With my client Corbin, he was actually very experienced and had been lifting for a few years, but was always on and off and he hadn't reached his natural potential. And Corbin managed to see more progress within their 2 months compared to their inconsistent years of lifting. And the final category would be for guys who are skinny fat or not quite obese. Like Carl, for example, who is above 20% body fat, but more of a skinny fat build and didn't really have that much muscle mass. So I hope that clarifies the body recomposition phase. And if you needed something which is a bit more tailored in terms of your specific body type and fits in with your work schedule, with my one-to-one coaching, you'll get a customized workout plan, a customized nutrition plan, one-to-one weekly check-ins for accountability, and my direct contact where you can ask any questions and I can guide you through the process. So feel free to click the first link in the description. We'll book a call and see if the coaching is a good fit for you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like, drop a subscription, and I'll catch you next time.